Hey guys, welcome back to Feminism on Trial. I very much have to apologize because I am having severe mechanical difficulties. I have tried, I don't know, 3 or 4 times to use my camera for this, and it's glitching and doing all kinds of strange things that I don't understand. And anyway, so we're using the phone. Anyway, last time I said, let's talk about how we got here. And I don't mean feminism as a whole, I just mean how did it permeate? How does it permeate each individual person? How does it get here? I mean, there are people who come from families that you wouldn't think that it would produce a feminist, let alone a man hater. So I'm going to start with a confession. When I was in my early 20s, I have these two cousins, and they're twins, and the girl cousin hit the boy cousin, and the boy cousin hit back. And my response once hearing this sequence of events was, how dare that boy hit her back? They were children, they were not teenagers yet. I was angry, and I thought that the boy should be punished more harshly for the simple fact he was a boy. In my head, in my indoctrinated brain, I thought, if they don't do something about this, he's going to turn into some kind of a wife beater. Where would I get that idea? Why would I think that, her punishment, and she hit first, which is worse. Why would I think that somehow his punishment should be worse and that he was going to turn into some wife beater? Well, because of everything that you see as a child growing up. I'm 43, but even the things I was exposed to. The TV shows where the husband is, a bumbling idiot, and it's okay for, the wife to be, frankly, a bitch because the husband's doing it again. He's either stupid or he's stupid and he lied about it. And so her attitude and the way she speaks to him is completely justified. It's funny. They hide it with comedy. That's one way, because it seems harmless. When it seems harmless, it's easy to sneak that propaganda and that indoctrination through. Disney princesses, for example, the ones I grew up with, the classic ones, Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, those ones. Think about it. What did they bring to the table? The prince brings provision, security, all of that. Forever and ever, happily ever after. What does she bring? She's pretty. That's it. That translates to the, nowadays when, men who've been through the whole dating scene and realize, well, all she's got is, not pretty, but the other P word. That's all she's bringing to the table. And think about Cinderella. How degrading it was that she did housework. Yeah, her sisters and her stepmom were abusive, whatever. It wasn't fair that she was doing it. But the housework itself was degrading. It was like the lowest of the low. So you grow up looking at that thinking, I'm better than that. I'm not going to end up just scrubbing floors for somebody. I'm better than that. I deserve to be a princess, which means I shouldn't have to work like that because that's degrading. It's so slight. And some of you will watch this and say, she's crazy. She's just picking it apart. She's just looking at every teeny little detail and making a mountain out of a molehill. Well, what if you can make a mountain out of a lot of molehills? That's basically what it is. Because they're not just going to come on television and be like, men are evil. No, they're going to have a show like Law & Order SVU, where, Detective Olivia Benson saves the day all the time. And who's bad? The men. They're always bad. They're always abusive. Who are the victims? The women. You see this over and over again. You watch Dateline. It's always a female victim and a male perpetrator. But that does not reflect actual life. It doesn't reflect actual domestic violence. And it really makes men, it doesn't show how men truly love. It just makes them look like they just want to oppress and dominate and, and hurt people. And it's just not true. It's just not true. That's not the character of a man. But that is what they are. Basically, they're making girls afraid of men. They're making girls out to feel like they're growing up and they're just already a victim. Well, if they're a victim, then it's not their fault, anything. And if they're a victim, there has to be an oppressor. Well, guys get to be the oppressor. Movies, I mean, it's fraught with it. We're going to go through individual movies just for fun, just so we can pick apart the propaganda. And, some of you will be like, yeah, I know, Forrest Gump. I know all about that. But, there's other ones that are fun to pick apart. But be forewarned, because once you learn to see the propaganda, you cannot not see it. You will literally see it everywhere. You'll see it on a billboard. You'll see it in an advertisement. You'll see it literally everywhere. That, girls can do anything. No, they can't. Mulan, the Disney princess, really, she's gonna dress up like a man. This 18-year-old girl or whatever, she's gonna dress up like a man and save China. She's gonna fight other grown male soldiers. Sure. Why not? I mean, literally, this is what, and we believed it. I mean, I'm making confessions that I believed it. Mulan used to be my favorite Disney princess. It's so embarrassing. I'm not a stupid person. And I didn't come from, a single parent household. But I fell for it. So I can only imagine what it must be like in the brain of somebody who's already in a susceptible situation like one of those. Speaking of single parent households, if you grow up nowadays, there's so many more. I mean, I'm 43, so there weren't as many single moms when I was coming up, but now there are so many, especially in the places I've lived recently. I'm just like, does anybody have two parents? They are heralded as these women that can do it all and do it all well. They can, be a professional, and they can be the best mom. And, and in being a mother, they're a nurse and a chef and all these other things they say they are. No, they're not. They're popping in like Totino's pizza rolls at the last minute, or driving through the McDonald's park, drive-through to, give their kids food. And they're picking them up from daycare. It's a lie. It's a delusion. But those kids are growing up hearing that that's what it means to do everything. They literally think their moms did everything, even though they were there and they witnessed it. But they still think, oh no, she did it all. And they grow up holding that up in high esteem and then repeating it, because what's the problem? There's no shame. There's no shame in those moms who are doing it all. They take somehow 100%, and they're able to give 100% to the children and 100% to their job and 100% to whatever awesome thing they think they do that they have to put on Facebook so everyone thinks they're, charitable or interesting or whatever. But it's bullshit, because they come home and they drink wine and they don't know how their kids are doing in school. They're not raising them. The daycare is. The teachers are. How many men are they dating? How many men are they introducing to their kids? I mean, I have a whole video on single moms. But my point is that these kids grow up looking at these moms and holding them up in high esteem, thinking that that is what we should aspire to be, what women should aspire to be. And they raise boys. And I personally think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a lot of where male feminists come from. Because they think, well, my mom did it. No, she didn't. She didn't. You just You're too guilty to look at the truth. Like, you feel like you be saying something bad about your mom, but like, look at the truth. How much was she actually there? Because if she was working, not that much. And how many guys did she date? We are so deluded as a culture. And it has just led to, this is where we've come from. This is how you grow feminists, whether they're male or female. This is how you grow them. And this is how you create a society that makes men second-class citizens, and a society where somebody in their 20s who's not stupid thinks that a little boy should be punished more for standing up for himself against his sister. And that's just, you can take that and expand it and see, like, that's a person who doesn't recognize domestic violence inflicted by a woman. Because in our society, people really don't think that women can commit domestic violence, when in reality they commit most of it. So this is where we come from. Television, the bumbling husband, the wife who's justified being bitchy because he's an idiot, the Disney princesses who bring nothing to the table, girl power stickers, just girls being raised to have no accountability, and boys being raised guilty from the get-go. It's really sad. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I know that men are like, how do they get this way? And this is how, little bits at a time, from every aspect of our society. And it's so destructive. It's a cancer. It's a virus. It's the real virus. I wish we could, get a vaccine for it. But anyway, thanks for listening. I hope to get my equipment back on track next time. And take care. I'll see you next time. Hit subscribe. Thanks.